So I find the most important factor in choosing a digital agency is partnership. So it's not necessarily only about choosing the agency, but also keeping the agency. So if you're going to have an agency with important people working with you and for you over the long term, possibly for many years, you really need to know that they're part of the team and they're bought into your strategy, they buy into your goals, and they understand your branding.
I think for me, as I mentioned earlier on stage, I think finding the right agency partner is almost like a marriage, right? So you want a partner that can bring out the best in you, and they can also look at your faults and weaknesses and be not afraid to point them out and then tell you how you should be doing better and how you can improve on your fault areas. So therefore, for me, the number one factor would be commitment. Like once the agency is committed to the business and says that they are on the same ship with you guys, and then I think everything else should fall in place, and then a happy and beautiful marriage should take place.
And how do you evaluate performance of an agency?
So we have all of our agencies buy into our own key performance indicators, which are also part of our individual MBOs. So the agencies sign up to deliver on those numbers, but we also expect them to be delivering over and above that in terms of strategic insight and innovation.
For our business, we are still very sales driven. So I think we always judge performance for our campaigns through sell-through. Like how many % of products have we sold through in X number of days. So that's one indicator. Of course, that's very difficult to gauge for the different agencies. So beyond that, there's also brand index measures like awareness, interest, preference, and of course, finally, we look at the work. I think if we can identify if the work resounds very well with our consumers, and if our agencies show that they understand our consumers and the digital landscape, and then everything else should also fall into place.
So when is that moment when things doesn't work out? Like what happens?
I find that the major problems happen when the team at the agency that's working with you actually changes. So you may have some terrific people who you've been working with over a long period of time. They understand your goals, they understand your brand, they're fully involved as part of the team, and suddenly they either leave the agency or they move on to a different account. And that is when things can really break down. So the model that I use now with my agencies is to make sure that they give me a heads up when there is a possibility of talent leaving the account.
Gavin, I mean, in China, I think the attrition is even much higher. So how do you manage that?
I mean, it's a very big gap of digital talent, that's missing in China. I think a lot of capable people, once they prove themselves in a specific agency or a role, they tend to jump into another role very quickly because they're in demand, and then their skills are very hot and very valuable. So I think all of what we're trying to do here is to, again, go back to commitment. I think if we show that you are not just we are not just taskmasters, and you are not just an executor or a waiter, right? You are our partner, and then we care for you, and we are together in a very long-lasting and strong relationship. I think going back to the question, the worst thing that can happen is obviously the pitch team is different from the actual team that services the business. Usually when agencies go for pitches, they bring out the best, the big guns, the top guys like from different parts of the world, and say that they can do amazing things, beautiful ideas, and they prove it, and then we buy the idea. But then the actual team that delivers on the campaigns is a completely different team. So these things also happen pretty often, which is pretty unavoidable.
And one way we actually get around that is to make sure that we have people in the regions that the team is going to be working with, as well as people in the individual countries, actually also interview the people who they will work with on a daily basis. So we try to understand who's going to be on the business rather than just relying on the pitch team.
Yeah. We like to look for a mix of agencies. Of course, we look at digital media buying, then it's all about economies of scale, right? Whoever has bigger bargaining power can help us get the best deals with the media partners. Whereas if we look at the creative process, the integrity of ideas and the potency of creativity, we like to look at individual small agencies, because these agencies usually are made up of people who just get tired of the 4A, the corporate world of the agency. So the best brains usually come out and then look for other best brains and then come together as a very core elite unit that can create pretty cutting edge ideas. So we also like to experiment and work with these independent small agencies too.
I can't agree more, 100%. The key is to have a mix of agencies to get that level of innovation, startup, new ideas, but also some established people who really understand the brand and the strategy and can make sure the business is moving forward. And one of the challenges there is getting agencies to play nice together. And it can take a long time, but when it works out, it's very valuable. Because I have agencies who sit in a room together and they just feel like they're part of the SAP team, whether it's my testing team or my paid search team or SEO, and they are giving each other ideas, and some of them sit in our office. People from different agencies, but they're sitting in my team meeting together, and we know that we're one team.